everyone. Welcome to the March 14th Webster Board of Education Business Meeting. Would everyone please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. So before we get started, we would just like to recognize that Mike Suffoletto is not here with us, and we can't wait until he is back here with us. He's home attending to some health issues and is getting better just about every day. So he's home now, and we all send him our very best wishes on his recovery. I believe, can we accept the agenda as is? Do we have any changes to the agenda?
I'll make that motion.
Okay, thank you.
In a second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, so we will forego visitor speaking comments.
Did anyone sign up? Mrs. Cushman? Okay.
Okay, there are no people wishing to address the board this evening, so we will keep moving along. Student liaison reports. Hi, Sam. Thank you for being here. Hi, ladies. You're used to this, right? Finding your places.
Of course.
Yeah, thank you. Whoever would like to start?
Thank you. All right, good evening, everybody. I hope everyone has been enjoying the balmy day we're having today. Let's just cherish that right now until next week. But I hope you've been having an amazing pie day too, you know? So we're starting this off that Community Arts Day is coming up on Saturday, April 6th. We all know that. There's a lot of artists, photographers, all kinds of different things you've never seen before. I remember I went when I was little, and there was this lady who hula hooped. And I got a hula hoop from her, and I swear that thing was magical. And 75 Thomas students are working hard to prepare for our spring musical, which is Cinderella. And shows are at 7 o'clock on March 28th, 29th, and 30th with a 1 o'clock matinee. Also for the younger ones, and Mr. Gamina, because he can probably blend in pretty well with the youngsters, there is a breakfast with Cinderella on the 23rd.
Wow.
I had to do it to you.
Oh my gosh.
Oh boy. Oh yeah. Also, this past Tuesday, mental health speaker and trainer Hakeem Rahim spoke to the student body about mental health and wellness. That was a very important thing that I think that we incorporated into the school day, because not a lot of people actually focus on that when we're actually focusing more on grades. And that's a big thing, in my opinion, with just a lot of my friends and all kinds of people throughout that I see struggling, or even that I can't see struggling. So it's a really big thing that I'm glad that Mr. Weedor and Mr. Gamina and everybody that have supported this and done a lot more with mental health. And along with that, we also had a fantastic winter sports season at Thomas. Our indoor track team had an amazing season, with 3 of our athletes making it to states after sectionals. We had Jonah Dean, Sean Smith, and Monique Hardy. Monique won both shot put and weight throw, and Sean was second for weight, missing by 1 inch for first place. Jonah broke a school record in the 200-meter, and Monique moved on to nationals and obliterated the competition in the weight throw, which that is impressive. I've known her for a long time, and that's just crazy in my mind. But our cheer team competed at states at RIT and had a flawless performance, earning them first place and setting them off for a national tournament in Florida this weekend. Our hockey team won sectionals and moved on to regionals, beating Northwood-Norfolk 4-1, a Section 10 team. And moving on to the state semifinals, they sadly ended their journey with a 5-2 loss to Schenectady. All right, you know, it's not my day. In Buffalo. And the Webster 200 free relay team made up of Titans Griffin Whitty, Adam Sokolowski, Matt Del Grego, and Warrior Michael D'Amelio finished second in their competition. The same group finished seventh in the state for the 400 free relay, set a new Webster boys record with a time of 3:13:88. And Adam Sokolowski finished eighth in the state and breaking his personal record with a 59:30. Matt Del Grego also competed in the 100 fly, and Griffin Whitty competed in the 100 backstroke. And continuing on with the athletics, we have the girls bowling team, which won Class A sectional championships at Gates. On Wednesday, the team comprised of Cassidy Potter, Micah McDonald, Cassidy Anschutz, and Caitlin Anschutz, and Alyssa Deuce, I cannot say the last name, I apologize. But the girls won the final match and edged Hilton by 11 pins to take the title. We have boys basketball. Andrew Mason was named co-player of the year for Monroe County Division II. Girls basketball, Taylor Lockwood has been named the Ronald McDonald All-Star Team. She will play the 23rd in a game to be held at Rush Henrietta. And finally, CJ Lee wrestled in the state wrestling tournament, which was held in Albany, New York, on the 22nd and 23rd of February. He went 1-2 at states, losing his third match in the final seconds. And also, Coach Cook was named Monroe County Coach of the Year in wrestling this season, which congratulations to him. And finally, the Thomas Math League team competed in the Monroe County Math League All-Star Meet at St. John Fisher. The team finished third in their division, and Scott Schlady finished as the regular season MVP and All-Star Meet MVP. And that is a lot in one mouthful here, but that is all that I have. On to you guys.
Thank you, Sam.
Hello, how is everyone? All right, so the Counseling Center at Schrader recently set up Future Friday, which essentially we had our first session, and a graduate from Schrader came in and talked to students about future career goals and things of that matter. And he was an engineer, and there are 5 more set up. People are going to come in and help students, you know, with any questions they have about going into like their future careers, you know, and so students can sign up for that in the Counseling Center. On March 8th, a lot of language students, 96 to be exact, from French, Spanish, and German were all inducted into the Language Honor Society. And this was run by past inductees and by Mrs. O'Connor and Mrs. Hall. The optics class took a trip to Optimax yesterday to explore opportunities available to them in the optics field. They were able to talk about the career with technicians, engineers, administrators, and the owner. Rochester has one of the largest optics industries in the world, and then there are many rewarding careers for students.
Recently, Mrs. Lawton's English class concluded their research assignment. Students were told to research a question they had using college-level databases and create a 4- to 5-page paper discussing their findings. Many students began the research knowing what side they were going to argue, but the majority switched their opinion with continued research. Mrs. Woodward's English class has been analyzing Shakespeare's sonnets and writing 2 of their own. There was recently a competition related to this, and students were encouraged to participate. Out of the 5 sonnets honored in this competition, 3 of the runner-ups came from Webster Schrader. Mahama Bass, a junior at Schrader, is the president of our Dream Club. This is a club aimed at breaking the race barrier and making the community a better place. She was recently recognized for the Princeton Prize in Race Relations. She was nominated for this because of her significant and positive impact on the community. The ceremony will be held on March 18th at Allendale Columbia School. That's it.
Thank you all.
Thank you, have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks for being here.
Thank you.
I'm the same you. I'm the same height as you, so I can blend in.
Nice save, Sam.
I don't want that 6-year.
It was nice knowing you.
And I don't believe we have any other liaison. Oh, I'm sorry, Sue, you're here. Please come say hello.
It's hard to see.
Sometimes, sometimes people are blocked. Thank you for being here.
I have some notes from the faculty across the district, some highlights. And the first one I'm so excited to tell you about. If there's any basketball fans, which is me, Brian Freeman, you better be a basketball fan. The elementary librarians at all 7 buildings have kicked off a school-wide event called March Book Madness. And it's coinciding with the NCAA basketball tournament. So they all started, I can only speak for my building, but it's going on at all the buildings. We started out with a sweet 16 books, so we had 16 titles. Every day classes heard 2 read-alouds in their class and voted on their favorite title between those 2. And so I believe today was the day that all 16 were tallied. We will find out tomorrow morning on the morning show who is moving to the Elite 8. And then we will read again and continue to vote until we get down to the final 4 and the eventual favorite title in each building. So it's a big, exciting thing. The kids are thrilled about it. The teachers are thrilled about it. We've just had a lot of fun with that. So congrats to the elementary librarians for creating all of that at all of our buildings. Sarah Connor's 5th grade class at DeWitt has made book bag tags for K through 2 students and bookmarks for 3 to 5 students at DeWitt. Her class wrote an application to get a grant for the supplies from an organization called Kindness Grows, and they worked on them for the past several months and presented all the finished products to the school at an assembly during Random Acts of Kindness Week. Also at DeWitt, Christine Skarzinski's 2nd grade class learned about compassion and raised $150 for the March of Dimes in honor of a classmate's family who experienced a medical tragedy recently. At State Road, the Kiwanis kids have been hard at work for this entire year. So far, they've made blankets and scarves for our veterans, sold kazoos for Camp Good Days and Special Times, raising $1,200 in only 4 hours, which seems like a lot of kazoos. They went to visit Heathwood Nursing Home and played board games with the residents for a few hours. And each month they try to do an activity that benefits the community and other children. They are one of the only elementary buildings in Monroe County to offer a Kiwanis Kids program. There are 50 kids as members from grades 3 through 5, and the club is advised by 4 teachers, Kelly Stevens, Carrie Festing, Katrina Servati, and Katie Honorato. Future plans include a penny drive for Golisano Children's Hospital and collecting items on the Kiwanis Club's Kids Camp wish list. They'll also be planting flowers and doing a spring cleanup of State Road in honor of Earth Day. Also at State Road, 5th grade art club students worked on large murals for the newly redesigned recovery rooms at the Ronald McDonald House in Rochester. At Plank North, 4th graders recently visited Dayton's Corners for a taste of the old school days. Each class went on a different day, and after they returned, they debriefed and wrote an essay contrasting the differences between then and now. Plank North is also enjoying the opportunity to have their book fair, and they're thankful again for their librarian and for the PTSA for pulling that together for their students and families. And lastly, at Plank North, 4th graders are doing a lesson in scientific sketching to incorporate art with the science curriculum. The 4th grade teachers and their art teacher, Natalie Palermo, collaborated on that interdisciplinary lesson where students draw from observation. I talked a couple months ago, I think, about fiddler crabs at DeWitt. They are also doing fiddler crabs. They're drawing them from in front of them in their aquariums. They draw a part of the crab and reflect on what that part's function would be to help the crab survive. And then they label their sketches of the crab with scientific vocabulary and color it in a realistic way. And then the last thing is all across the district, our elementary buildings are right in the middle of the window for parent-teacher conferences. So that's a great opportunity to share the learning and the growth of all of our students. That's the news. That's the news.
Hi, Sue, and we just wanted to add that we are launching our 2nd round of learning walks.
Okay.
So we'll
share
launch a
that.
communication to all principals and everyone to schedule,
Great.
and we'll look forward. So
That
we'll
was
have
fun.
a fall version and a spring version. So
I'm looking forward to seeing you guys.
thank you so
you.
much. We are too.
Thank you, Ms. Fiona.
And moving on to instructional reports, we have the OWL program join with us this evening, and are so looking forward to this. That was just the last piece of our learning walk, where we just visited the OWL program this week, and we're extremely impressed. So looking forward to sharing this with everybody.
Fantastic program, and we're looking forward to sharing it with you.
Can you just take Sue's name tag? Just
So, as we said, we're very excited to be here tonight to share the work of our department. I'm here with Krista Quick, our special education administrator, because our main focus will be on the OWL program. It's officially the One Webster Learning Center, but everybody knows it best as OWL. But before that, we wanted to get into some data to share with you. Our data will focus mainly on our demographics, as well as some achievement data connected to our integrated co-teaching, or ICT program. So the top of this chart shows the number of students with disabilities at school age that are in all of our programs in and out of the district. And as you can see, most of the students are in-district programs. Whenever possible, we want our students, excuse me, in our schools working with our teachers with access to our resources and curriculum. At the bottom of the chart, you can see how the total number of students with disabilities has changed over the years. This number has been stable for the last few years, which has allowed us to really focus on building our existing programs and adding new programs such as OWL. On this slide, you'll see that our graduation rates, again, for students with disabilities remain stable. This is the 4-year graduation rate, so it's important to remember that some of our students take longer than the traditional 4 years to earn a diploma. Also, some of our students may exit with either a Skills and Achievement Commencement credential or a CDOS credential, which count as non-graduates, but they have achieved to their learning goals in that way. So now we'll look at the ICT program data. So over the years, we've been sharing NWEA and Regents Scores as a monitoring for how our students, both those with disabilities and those without disabilities, perform in an ICT classroom. On this graph, green represents all students, yellow is the students with disabilities in an ICT classroom, and blue are students with disabilities in ICT. This is a comparison of the 2016-17 and the 17-18 school year, and this is in reading, and it's the average percentage of students meeting or exceeding their projected growth score, and it's an average across grades 3 through 7. On this slide, it's the same data, the colors represent the same things, but now we're looking at math. And we do recognize that last year we did have a dip in our mathematics scores, and we continue to work with our instructional department to really build our strategies there and focus on that. At high school, we look to the Regents Exam as one data point in monitoring our ICT program. So this slide represents the average of all Regents exams given in each year that have an ICT component. The results reflect the percentage of students passing with a 65 or higher on the June Regents exams. So keep in mind that these percentages increase when you factor in August results, and then the overall passing rate for students with disabilities increases as they can earn local credit with a score of 55 or higher. So now let's shift to the OWL program. It's really hard to believe that it's not quite a year and a half from the time we first started talking about the possibility of bringing students back from BOCES and having our own in-district program to support our students at the elementary level with social, emotional, or behavioral needs. And as you'll hear tonight, we've come a very long way. As I mentioned earlier, we always want our students in our district programs when possible. And we knew that this particular population of students were not making the academic and behavioral growth that we had hoped for. And even when they did, it was very difficult for them to transition back to the district. The same instructional rigor, materials, resources that we use here, they didn't have access to. So this led to frustration and the regression in their use of the coping skills that they had developed. And we knew we could do better for these children. So after careful planning, we embarked on a very busy spring and summer. We needed to build everything a school needs to function from the ground up. We spent 7 days as a team learning the best strategies and techniques to meet the needs of all our learners. And it really took a village to make this program. We couldn't have done it without buildings and grounds, technology, all the TOSAs and directors from every department. They came together with the belief that this program would be fantastic for our students. They deserved all our support and hard work to create a warm, supportive learning environment. Our goal was to create a program that integrated the social, emotional, and behavioral instruction and services directly in the classroom so students could learn and practice right in the moment, while at the same time getting the same academic instruction that their peers in general education receive. By doing this in a district elementary school, our students had the opportunity to have carefully developed transition plans for when they are ready to move to Gen Ed, which is our goal for each and every one of our students. So now I'm going to turn this over to Krista so she can talk more about the details of our wonderful program.
All right. Thank you, Colleen. As Colleen said, we've come a long way in a short period of time. In the 6 months we've been working with students, they've made incredible gains academically and behaviorally and socially emotionally. The hard work and dedication by the incredible staff has been a contributing factor to the program's success. And as Colleen shared, the true team effort and collaboration from everyone district-wide has been incredible. So I want to thank everybody for their trust and belief in this program. So I might be a little biased when it comes to sharing the successes of the program, so I'd like to hear from some of those that are directly impacted and have the most to gain from the OWL program, our students. So
What do you like about school?
Doing toy time
And
reading,
anything else?
math,
Ooh.
and doing Vital's workshop.
Awesome. What do you like about your new school?
That I get to read books,
And?
and I like Tristan, and I like more than meeting.
Vivian, what do you like about your new school?
What I like about my new school is that we learn about flexible thinking, and we learn about math and addition and multiplication, and we have laptops because at my school at my old school we didn't have like breaks like in my old classroom, Miss Ramos's class, and we only had one break, and then we had to work all day, and then until recess we get a break, and then but one thing I did like
Sleeping.
Yeah. Anyone else?
Miss Fish, and Mr. Pearson, and Miss Roberts, and Mr. Quick.
Yeah, they all love you.
Those are my friends.
So, Kevin, what do you like about school here at the OWL program?
Miss Leffler.
Okay. You like your teacher, Miss Leva?
Yeah.
What else do you like?
Math.
He likes math. Very cool. Is there anything else that you like about the OWL program?
Yeah.
What's that?
PE.
PE? Who's your PE teacher?
Mr. Cage.
Mr. Capes. What kind of things does Mr. Capes have?
Scooters.
Scooters. Anything else?
No.
No? All right. Well, we like having you here, Kev.
just a little taste of our friends. Our OWL students are following the One Webster Positive Behavior Intervention Supports and as the system to establish and maintain a safe and effective school environment that maximizes academic achievement and behavioral competencies. We're using the same CARE acronym as all other students in the district to teach our expectations. We have explicit instruction and interactive modeling that's used to teach our CARE behavior in all settings of OWL and the Schlegel building. So on this slide, you see an example of our reinforcer, the OWL book, that we are handing out constantly, always have it in our badge, ready to go. So in our classrooms, it might look a little different, class to class, depending on the age level, but we are using the OWL buck reinforcer. Some are doing classroom goals, where they're setting a goal as a team and working towards that, and then having a classroom celebration. In our K1, they're using it as a counting tool, using their math in the 10 frames. So it looks a little different, but we are all on board and consistently using the PBIS system. Here is our OWL PBIS Hall of Fame. So our older students, as they earn every 100 OWL bucks, they receive a certificate from me, because that's super special. And it goes home, and they get to take their picture in front of the board. I send the pictures to families, post it to Twitter, and we also have it in our monthly newsletter. So check out the Twitter for updates. All right, so in the classroom, we are using social thinking and zones of regulation as our social emotional curriculums, and this provides an opportunity for explicit instruction every day in the classroom, integrated right into their classrooms. It's a common language to describe and categorize emotions, and it provides tools and strategies to move from or maintain a desired zone. We have really dug into mindfulness as another coping and skill and strategy. Again, integrated right into the classroom, where Teresa has been working in our classrooms every week. She works in collaboration with our teachers for best scheduling and particular student or classroom needs. She also is working with our staff once a week, either before or after school, so that it's a nice dedicated time for personal growth and reflection for our staff. The OWL staff are teaching grade-level curriculum using all the general education models and expectations, such as the domains and EL modules, foundations, and math expressions. But within these, we're also incorporating our social-emotional learning and curriculum. Excuse me. So it is our goal that as students are ready to integrate into general education, the curriculum will not be the barrier. We definitely have to thank all of our instructional TOSAs in the districts for providing ongoing support and professional learning for our staff. They've helped us to focus on how to best utilize resources and how to make the curriculum accessible to all of our students. Their support and collaboration has been an integral part of our academic successes. As you can see in these pictures, when we talk about our related service providers, that's our speech, our OT, PT, and counseling. They are right in the classroom. They are working collaboratively with our teachers as part of the team so that skills are learned and generalized right in their classroom space. So transition, we're talking about our students getting out either into general education or providing opportunities within the Schlegel building. So we've worked carefully to plan, set small goals and small steps, work with families and students and our building administration to be able to get our students to have successful opportunities. We are always explicitly teaching and modeling the expectations and using CARE language in PBIS to shape the teaching and skill development to prepare for these opportunities. Our specials, such as our music, art, PE, and library, has certainly been a journey. We have started with our folks coming to our program right in the classrooms, and at this point our students are going out to Schlegel in the art room, the PE area, and the library. So we've made quite a bit of growth there. So these pictures are some examples of them in the art space, the PE, and whatnot. So building a community has been a primary focus and goal of our program. And we've been able to build our community by creating opportunities for all of our students, K-5, to spend time together and enjoy getting to know one another. We have some examples up there, a full program lunch with students and staff. We have classroom buddies where our older students are paired with our younger students. So our K1 class with our 4 and 5 class and our 1, 2, 3, 4 class. So these are some examples of places they've collaborated and had fun together, recess, reading buddies, and just playing. So here's an example of some of our classroom buddies attending a field trip to the Rochester Museum and Science Center just last month. So if you want to play that. It was a short clip, but you might have been able to see some of our parent volunteers that were able to attend to support their student and our program, and we are so thankful for the parent partnerships we've been able to foster and grow. So on this slide, you'll see a whole bunch of Family participation, this was our holiday celebration where we had about 85% of our families attend to have a fun-filled afternoon of holiday crafts and activities. A few parents were willing to share some thoughts for tonight's presentation, and I'm honored to read them. So the furthest left is Ethan, so we'll read a little about from his mom. I'm excited and overjoyed to let you know, you and the board know how amazing we think the OWL program is. It has had a drastic impact on Ethan and our family. At the end of last school year, Ethan felt hopeless and basically gave up on school. He dreaded going every day, and it was a constant struggle to get him to do any work for his class. At home, he was difficult and seemed sad all the time. He had not smiled in a school picture or any picture in years. He was shutting down almost every day. His father and I were stressed out and didn't know how to help Ethan. In a very short time, actually after the first day of school, Ethan had a positive attitude about school. He told me how nice and understanding his teachers were. I thought it was cute when he said they were almost too nice. He liked that he didn't have to listen to pencils writing everywhere and that there was just a small group in his class. After 4 months in the program, Ethan is doing his homework independently and happy all the time. He loves going to school and is confident and excited to learn. He has learned how to work through his shutdowns by using breathing and other techniques. He has learned how to be a good friend and to help others out. He is smiling in pictures again, and at home he is more flexible and fun. He has exited his counseling program because he's achieved his goals. I no longer dread parent-teacher conferences. I get positive feedback from teachers consistently. Overall, to sum it up, the OWL program saved my son. I don't know where we would be without it. It has changed our lives. We're so thankful and appreciative for the district implementing this program and allowing Ethan to be a part of it. And that is from Shay Tanner, Ethan's mom. Pretty nice. And then the little guy on the right there is William, and his mom shares that the staff at the OWL program has really gotten to know my child as a whole person. They have made him feel like an important member of their community and engaged him through a focus on his strengths. Because of this, he has made great gains in his social, emotional, and behavioral skills. And last but not least, this is Riley's mom, who shares some thoughts on Riley's teacher, Miss Umanen.
Hi, my name is Christina Kerr, and I am a parent of a student in the OWL program. I just wanted to take a moment to share some words, some feelings that I have about Miss Umanen, who works with my son in the OWL program. Miss Umanen has had a huge impact on my son's school experience. My son Riley has special needs and has had a hard time in school. This year, he started with the OWL program at Schlegel Road, and the transformation has been incredible. Miss Umanen has gone above and beyond to learn about my son's interests, strengths, and needs, and she's helped him to feel successful as a student for the first time in a long time. She has worked tirelessly to engage and challenge him academically, socially, and emotionally. She contacts parents daily to let them know how their child's day has gone and truly tries to work together with parents to make their school the best experience possible for all of her students. I've never met another teacher that was so dedicated to her students, and I've been a teacher for over a decade. I don't know where we'd be without the OWL program, and miss you.
So now you know how I feel every time I leave OWL. And I've texted Carm from my car and said, you know, this is probably one of the most meaningful things that our department has ever done to bring the joy of education and learning to students and family who have never had that experience. And you know, this can change generations of their family and their lives and the trajectory for those students. So I hope tonight we were able to bring, you know, the life to the OWL program for you, and we are just so honored to represent all the people who are responsible for that, because it really does take a village. And you know, Krista and I hired a great team, and they are very dedicated and they work very hard. So we're appreciative of the opportunity to share this with you tonight, and we open our presentation to any questions that you have.
Thank you so much. Maria, would you like to start and share any observations?
I'm overwhelmed with excitement, and I learned a lot tonight from your presentation. Thank you. And to be giving that gift to parents and kids is extraordinary. Thank you.
I agree. I'm new to the board and did not know a lot about the OWL program, but it's amazing, and to hear directly from the kids and the parents how much they benefit
Thank you. It sounds life-changing for our students, and there's nothing better we can do than that.
Ditto. And just wanted to ask if we could possibly get a report at the end of the year, a quick one, and let us know how the students did as far as, have any of them been able, will any of them be able to transition to general ed this year? I mean, I don't know what the plan is, if you were thinking like 2 to 3 years or 1 year. I'm sure every child is different.
Yeah.
But certainly would like to hear the successes and the challenges as well.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Thank you. I think one of the things I'm most impressed with is when you began, you didn't know how the transitions were going to work out and what kids were going to be able to be prepared to do. And just in the short time since September, to say that they're going to specials and having activities and really transitioning far beyond what you might have been able to plan for speaks to the dedication of the team, certainly. So it was a wonderful visit, and thank you so much for what you're doing on behalf of all those students.
It was amazing, the visit, the presentation. Thank you. Thank you for having the passion and a wonderful staff, giving those kids opportunities that they obviously didn't think they ever had. So I applaud you all.
So before you guys vote to accept the report, hey, Paul, can you go back like 3 slides to that slide with Ethan, the 2 boys next to each other? Right there, yeah. So Ethan's on the left. I got to know Ethan over the last couple of years when he was in general ed, and just the transition or the transformation of Ethan from when I knew him in a traditional setting to what he is like now has been pretty amazing. And he's a new kid. He's a new child. And again, it goes back to, the team that you guys put together. And also, because you started a year ago now is when you really started really putting the program together. And, thanks to Mr. Freeman for also, with that kernel of the idea of having our kids come back and making that possible with his creative budgeting. So it really has, okay. not illegally creative, but one of the things that you guys made sure of is that if we were going to have this type of program, you wanted to make sure that we had enough related services, that we weren't going to skimp, that we had enough mental health support, we had enough OT, we had enough PT. And that has really made a difference. So I can't commend the 2 of you on your leadership enough, and because it really does. It's like you said, it's generational differences for some of these families, and for some of their experiences. So again, thank you so much.
You just reminded me, also when we were at BOCES this past Monday, they echoed how impressed they were with the program and the ability of Webster to not only create, but build something sustainable. And we're extremely impressed with all the work that's going on here. So
thank you.
I wanted to share that as well. So given this report, may we have a motion to accept the report as presented by Dave and a second by Jan. All in favor? Aye. Unanimous. Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Wish you continued success with the end of the year, and we'll be back to visit. Thank you. We'll come back. And moving on to the superintendent's report.
Thank you, Tammy. So we are more than halfway completed with our school year, and actually, if I'm not mistaken, there are 108 days until graduation, 108 calendar days until graduation, 107. And we have a busy time ahead of us. That includes parent-teacher conferences for our elementary school families. And all elementary schools will have another half day for conferences tomorrow, and then another one next Thursday, March 21st. So parents, please be sure that someone is home to get your child off the bus. And also as a reminder, all students grades K-12 have next Friday, March 22nd, off for a one-day break. One of my favorite parts of the month is the fact that March is Music in Our Schools month. and Youth Art Month as well. I attended the string extravaganza last night at Webster Schrader, which was unbelievable. 200 string players, and the last song was "This Is Me" from The Greatest Showman. It was knock your socks off. So everyone, please be sure to check our website, websterschools.org, for all kinds of other concerts over the next couple of weeks and for the remainder of the year. And while we're on the subject of music, our school musical season is wrapping up with the production of Cinderella by the Webster Thomas Players. This is a terrific family-friendly show. Tickets are on sale at websterthomasplayers.com. They have 3 performances, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, at 7 p.m., and then a 4th performance, a matinee performance on Saturday as well. And this is our 4th musical. We had, obviously, every secondary school has one, and they've been incredible. And I know that the board, our next meeting is at Thomas on 2 weeks from tonight, on the 28th, and we all go to the opening night. That's a tradition we started last year, and hopefully one that we continue to do. And then next up, a reminder for parents that online registration for WonderCare begins on Monday, 4 days from now. That is our district's new before and after school program that will open its doors in the fall of 2019. And you can find out all kinds of information about online registration by visiting websterschools.org/WonderCare. Our hope is that the program will help ease the transition for families as the district prepares to shift to an earlier start time for elementary schools in the fall. The new start times for elementary schools will be 7:50 to 2:20 for 5 of the buildings. Clem North and Plank North will be 7:40 to 2:10. Again, the Clems and the Planks, there has to be some separation so that we can help with the buses and traffic congestion. And then the secondary schools, approximately 8:45 to 3:15, and those times might be adjusted by plus or minus 5 minutes, especially at Publishers Parkway with Thomas and Willink, I think. Right, Mr. Freeman? Okay. And then lastly, I want to wish our Sparks Robotics team the best as they began their Rochester area regionals today, and they wrap up on Saturday at RIT. I'm heading out tomorrow and Saturday to watch this robotics competition. It is free. The competition at RIT is free and open to the public. I'd invite you to check it out. And after RIT, they head out to Cleveland at the end of the month for the Buckeye Regional. So I may have an excuse to I guess I should always go visit my daughter in Cleveland, but I could do 2 things at once. I'm so thankful to this team of volunteer adult mentors who spend countless hours guiding this amazing team of students. This is one of my favorite events of the year. This is an incredible team of young engineers. It's really cool to see. And that ends my report.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Moving on to board business, we have a resolution to establish hours for the annual district meeting, and Brian's going to speak to us about a few things.
Just to point out, it might seem like it's late this year, because normally it's somewhere around the 15th, 16th, but this just happens to be a year where the 3rd Tuesday in May, the way it works out is that April 30th is a Tuesday, so it delays it by almost a week, so it is a little later than normal for the May 21st date. On that same place, Schrader High School is always same hours, 6 to 9.
Okay, we do need a motion to accept the resolution and then the legal notice. So start with the notice. Maria, and second by Dave. All in favor? Aye. Unanimous, motion carries. And the legal notice for the budget vote.
Nothing new there, just the same standard legal resolution that we'll be publishing.
And can we have a motion to accept that, please?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Sue and second by Linda. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Again, motion carries. Moving on to the BOCES capital project in agreement. We did learn a little bit about that on Monday as well.
So for those of you that were on the tour Monday, I guess, my words on describing it now kind of come to light a little bit more of what they were trying to do that you got to see from the tour. But this is something a little unique. BOCES is just doing some renovations. They don't need a vote for a project like we do in this instance. What they need is all 10 component districts to agree to what you see there, to the agreement for us all to sign on. And I just highlighted a couple of things. Obviously, we are the largest component of Monroe 1, about 19.5% of the total Monroe 1 budget. So you see what this project would cost us in the allocation, about $4.2 million. But that is, and we have 3 payments, 2 BOCES to make starting in July of 2020, so 2020-2021 school year. So in working with our auditors and BOCES, that gives us 2 years in essence to save any surplus that we have to make those payments rather than issue debt and borrow for this project. However, I will recommend as we get closer, probably in late May, June, that the board does adopt a bond resolution just in case, gap elimination adjustment, some state financial crisis where it'll be like, all right, it would be more prudent for us to borrow for this over 15 years versus paying cash. Because the way BOCES gets aided, it's immediately in that same year. So we pay for it in July, and by the end of that year, the state reimburses us our BOCES aid on that, which is part of the agreement.
Question, so there is a mechanism available to us to put money aside for
Correct.
this? Okay.
We would set aside a capital fund for BOCES.
So we're allowed to do that?
We are allowed to do
okay.
that.
All right, excellent.
And so can we have a motion to accept the BOCES capital project and agreement? Made by Maria, second by Jan. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Thank you, Brian. Also, we have a bus transportation proposition that requires a roll call vote.
Correct. Yep. This is just follow-up. We talked about this at the first budget workshop. This is just the official ability to borrow for our normal bus replacement cycle. But this does require a roll call.
Motion. Need a motion?
I'll make the motion. Okay. And second by Dave.
Okay. Linda?
Yes.
Tammy?
Yes.
Sue?
Yes.
Jan?
Yes.
Dave?
Yes.
Maria?
Yes.
Thank you.
So efficient. Okay, moving on to policy update. First reading of policy 4080, partisan political activity. Turn to our policy guru.
Yeah. We just added 3 words to this policy. Partisan political activity, this is our first read. We'll have to read it again one more time before the change is adopted. The Board of Education prohibits the use of any of the district's federal, state, or local funds and/or resources for partisan political purposes of any kind by any district employee. The change was funds to and/or resources, meaning emails and such. Yep, copy machines, emails, that kind of thing.
And so can we have a motion to adopt the first reading of policy 4080? Made by Jan, second Maria, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, thank you, motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Moving on to our board reports, we always begin with our school liaison reports. Maria, do you want to start?
Yeah, sure. Thank you. I'm going to do DeWitt and Willink because Mike isn't here tonight. So congratulations to DeWitt Principal Mark Schichtel, Assistant Principal Rob DeRose, and Literacy Specialist Herb Hines for taking the polar plunge a few weeks ago. I'm still shivering from listening to them describe it. Random Acts of Kindness Week was held in February. DeWitt Road School families were encouraged to follow through and reinforce kindness at home. Kids made links and created a long kindness chain. Students in DeWitt's Club Impact delivered hats and gloves collected during the Hat and Mitten Drive to Hope Ministries. Thomas High School students presented and demonstrated principles of physics to the DeWitt Road 5th grade students. Roller skating for grade 2 students is scheduled on March 29th, and the next DeWitt PTSA meeting will be held on Tuesday, April 9th, not Monday, in the Willink Library at 6:30. And for Willink Middle School welcomes Principal Brian Powers, and staff and students are grateful to have had interim principal Dave Paddock at the helm. Willink's 5th grade parent orientation was held this past Monday, and student web leaders volunteered to serve on a panel to answer questions from parents. The Green 7 team at Willink has been facilitating movement study halls for their students for the past few months. The team believes that children need movement breaks to enhance their focus and support their own self-management. Some of the study halls have focused on dance, cooperative games, meditation, and walks. And in addition to the study halls, Green 7 students are also participating in Willink Community Service by delivering copies and other items to staff. Students and staff participated in a library design focus group with Labella Associates to share ideas about shaping the new space. Scott Fitch, speaker, educator, and coach, presented the importance of pause before you post to Willink students as part of digital citizenship. He discussed how students can make good choices as they navigate social media and the impact social media can have on others, and especially on their own academic and professional futures. It was well received by all. Mrs. Bianchi, Mrs. Ostrowski, and their Green 6 homeroom students are holding a fundraiser event this month to help animals in need at Lollipop Farm. The Willink Student Parent Band performed its silver anniversary concert this past weekend and did a phenomenal job as always. The Willink PTSA Candy Bar Family Bingo will be held tomorrow evening, March 15th at 6:30 p.m. in the Willink Cafetorium. Admission is $1 and one full-size giant candy bar per person. Coffee with the new principal will take place Tuesday on March 19th at 9:30 in the Willink Library, that's a.m., and the next Willink PTSA meeting is on Tuesday, March 26th at 6:30 p.m. in the Webster Public Library. Some good stuff happening all the time.
It's exciting about the library conversations around and having the students involved.
Yeah, I know.
It's pretty impressive.
Schrader's was yesterday, right?
Okay.
Yeah.
And Dave?
Last Friday, I was given permission to drive again, so I will be going back to PTSA meetings very shortly.
At Plank North. Okay, thank you. Jan?
The Clem North PTSA meeting was just this past Monday on the 11th, and it started with the principal, Laura Ballou, showing the audience a video of the daily morning show that they have started there, and explain how it works and how one group trains another, and how there's a different student that leads the pledge each day, and it could be anywhere from K through 5. So that was very well received. Certainly there's a lot going on. They had a bingo night on March 8th that was very well attended, over 100 people, and I think students and parents enjoyed it. The book fair just completed last night. It started on March 6th and was all the way through last night. And the next big event is the Winter Carnival and Talent Show, and that's an annual event at Clem North. That's Friday the 29th. I also had some great comments about how well attended the WonderCare meeting was, and I think probably that's been that way at most of the schools, but I think it was a big group at Clem North, and Brian, they were very complimentary, so.
Thank you.
Yep. And I guess that's it.
Thank you, Jan. Sue?
Yes, there is a Schlegel PTSA meeting next Tuesday night. I believe it's 6 o'clock.
Do I need to babysit?
6 o'clock. 6 o'clock. And also at Schlegel Road, the 5th graders, in collaboration with the library and the art department, have put together a rainforest project, and it's on display at the Webster Library. So it's there till March 21st. So hopefully you'll have a chance to get out there and look at it. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. And for State Road, there was a meeting this past March 12th that had been changed, and they are looking forward to the science fair. The topic is liquid science, and that's taking place April 5th. A lot of preparation is underway for Community Arts Day, which is true of every school as they get all their performing groups and crafts and line up volunteers, and open positions for next year. So they're looking for some leadership positions and chair positions there. The next meeting is April 10th, and it's going very well.
I was at the Spry PTSA meeting, which was held last evening. They are making their plans to schedule the spring lunch break. Lunch break is when the seniors come in and they interact with the students during lunch. They usually make some sort of craft. It's last year it was stress balls, or in the fall it was stress balls. I'm not quite sure what they're going to make this time. So it's a great event. It goes over the course of 3 weeks, and I think it's 2 or 3 days during the week. So it's a great event, a lot of attendance for the kids. April 30th, they are having an open house for all incoming 6th graders and their parents. It's set up as a scavenger hunt for students and families as a way to familiarize them with the building, and they'll also have spiritware sold there. A few weeks ago, the school had Spirit Week, and that culminated in a charity basketball game, which was held at Schrader. The school raised nearly $3,700 for Habitat for Humanity, and the Blue House took the Spirit Stick back. They were very proud of that. Last week's play was absolutely amazing. It was great to see so much talent. I was pleased that I was able to get to that. And Plank South, I wasn't at the meeting. Unfortunately, it was last Thursday during our workshop, but I did stop in to just kind of get a little bit of a report. So next Thursday is their science fair. It's the 40th anniversary. There's over 145 submissions right now, so it should be really busy. We'll have to stop in. On March 19th is the first grade roller skating party, so there'll be a lot of kids on the floor, I'm sure.
Not literally.
They'll be falling all over the place. And 2 weeks ago was the family movie event on a Saturday. They showed The Incredibles, and everybody was treated to pizza and popcorn, courtesy of the PTSA. The spring dance and ice cream social are coming. Those are the 2 largest social events of the year, and they're continuing to recruit new chair positions. And that's what I have.
And then Linda and I both went from one meeting to another to be at Central Meeting as well. Also, a lot of preparation around Community Arts Day and the calendar, the PTSA calendar, which is such a huge endeavor, and finding someone to organize all the dates and eliminate conflicts. And I know we've all felt that a little bit this year, so hopefully somebody can step in and help them with that. And they're getting ready as well for Meet the Candidates Night. So I think that was it for Central. Okay, and then moving on to Monroe County School Boards Association, the Legislative Committee. Jan?
Latest meeting was Wednesday, March 6th, and that was the day after their 2-day trip, advocacy trip to Albany, where there were 8,500 people there trying to talk to our new legislators. 12 people went from here, and that's a little bit of a decrease. And one thing that the committee talked about is how to increase participation in the future. They do a 1-day trip in December, and then they do a 2-day trip in the spring. And the 1-day trip in December leaves incredibly early in the morning. They like this because they don't leave till 10. They get there and they get afternoon meetings set up, and they get in very early because the security lines are very long to get in, but they can be over there at the buildings by 8, and they can get in sooner, and they can make early morning appointments. But they understand that maybe 2 days is difficult for people. But anyway, we talked about maybe next year we would give out those dates at the board table early and see if we can't, by having people know when the times are, maybe there could be more commitment. People who went felt very good about the meetings they had and the relationships that they have started to build with the new education leadership in the Senate and the Assembly. So they came back realistic, but hopeful, I guess is the term. Realistic that they know that Governor Cuomo is not going to move off the 2% cap, but hopeful that some of the new Senate and Assembly leadership people seem to take a good interest in what they refer to as upstate or our area, so they felt good about that. Making connections is certainly key.
Thank you so much for that, Jan.
Yep.
And labor relations, Linda?
Yep, the last meeting was all around bus driver shortage. I guess I didn't appreciate that there's the shortage where at the bus garage, and I guess when we took our learning walks, we saw this, that mechanics are driving the buses and the staff, the secretary, or the administrative staff is driving the bus, and so what happens is they lose time doing their own jobs, and so that creates overtime, and that just compounds the problem. And part of the problem of not being able to find drivers is that people that want to drive buses are usually between the ages of 19 and 29, but it's just not enough money for them to make a living. There's not enough hours to drive a school bus, so they go elsewhere to do different jobs like that. But they did say that the best advertisement is the school bus on the property with the big signs and sandwich boards. That seems to attract the most. And it's just one thing that they're continuing to try to find different ways to solve the problem. So, but in Monroe County, 2,273 school bus drivers cover 22.3 million miles a year. That's incredible. Yep, and the average district has an 8% shortage there, so it's definitely across all of Monroe County.
Okay. Moving on to information exchange. This past Wednesday, Lori Orologio from Churchville Chili presented on strengthening relationships and repairing harm. I wasn't able to be at that, but they do a good job of posting presentations and video on the Monroe County School Board website if anybody wants to check that out. And the next meeting is April 10th. For Executive Committee, the Spring Law Conference is March 27th, and I don't know if you have anything that you want to add from that? Okay. Moving on to our standing district committees, Audit Committee, don't know that you...
We haven't had a meeting.
Yeah,
Do we have something?
Spring, end of April, beginning of May. We'll have a kickoff.
Start again, okay.
All right.
And Policy Committee?
We had a meeting today. We've finished up most of the work we have for the school year. We obviously voted on one tonight. We'll have one coming April 11th, a first read on our workplace harassment. And there'll be a couple policies we'll have to leave out there for a little while until we have guidance from different organizations.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you speak to strategic planning as well? Thanks.
Yes, the biannual surveys will be administered this year. The students will take the survey the second week in April. The staff will take the surveys the third and the 8th during conference days and faculty meetings. It'll be spread over that way. And the community survey will be the last week of March through the 11th of April. There should be lots of notifications, so we're hoping to get as many people to participate as possible because we do value the input, and we certainly use that input to make decisions.
Absolutely.
And then we're going to, as part of the Strategic Planning Committee, we're going to take a district-wide look at homework, and that will be in late April, time and place to be determined. And that's it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Sue. Moving on, we have our consent agenda, and everyone's had a chance to review all the items within there. May we have a motion to accept the consent agenda? Moved by Jan and second by Maria. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Motion carries. All right, that all being said, our next meeting is Thursday, March 21st. We are here in the auditorium. Budget, it's going to be Brian's show. Okay, we're all excited. And can we have a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second.
Linda, and second by Sue. All in favor? Thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Thanks.